You guys are listening to a very special edition of Simmer Down. It's Simmer Down from home. We're having it's tea time, I guess, with Will from Skinshape. Man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. Yeah, it's almost tea time here. It's 4 o'clock, which means 1 hour to go until tea time. 5 o'clock's the official time for tea and biscuits.
So we're counting it down, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, man, I was a tour manager for
Okay,
many years. I've been in the music industry for a while, and my guitarist from my most recent band, The Elevators, actually showed me your music, and he's that guy at the party that you really, really want on the DJ table. He knows where all the music is, all the good stuff that nobody's ever heard before, and he showed me you, and I fell in love. When I listen to your music, it feels like I'm like wrapped up in this big cozy musical blanket. No matter the time or the place, your music always sets the right mood. Tell us about Skinshape.
That's a very broad question. Shall I tell you do you have a specific point, or shall I just talk about it in general?
Let's talk about Skinshape, how you started up and everything.
All right. So I started Skinshape around the age of 16, just sort of bedroom project. I actually started it when I was at school. I was at boarding school, and I just sort of borrowed a copy of Ableton from a friend. I had a guitar already. I got some basic recording stuff and just started playing around in my dorm, and recording ideas, putting things together, having fun. And then, I just never stopped doing it. And it just, my skills developed over the years. About the age of 22, I was at the level to release that first album. I built up quite a big back catalogue of stuff. And then, yeah, step by step moved forward, still learning the whole way, and it's always just been a sort of bedroom or home studio recording thing, that's the vibe.
Yeah. So, I mean, you are basically a solo artist. How did that all come about?
I think because, things were a lot slower if you rely on other people. So this way it was just, I'm doing this and I'm going to do it my way, and that's how I want to do it. Like, it's kind of, I didn't have to wait for anyone. I just got into it, and whenever I felt like it, I could just go and record something. And especially in the early years, it was kind of an escape from personal struggles and stuff like that, to just kind of go and record something. You feel really good when you make a song you like. It will give you a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, your music, that's a good point. I mean, your music just makes you feel really good. I mean, there's melancholy in your music, and there's happiness in your music, but when it comes down to it, it just makes you feel good. If you guys are just tuning in, you're listening to Simmer Down from home. You're late if you don't know about Skinshape. We got Mr. Will sitting here with us, and we're really stoked to talk with you, man. I do the world and reggae music show, and I was looking up, I was digging on some dirt on you, and I was looking at a couple other interviews you've done. And reggae is also big for you with Horus Records that you have. And I heard that you have some reggae tunes that you may release here soon. Tell us about reggae and Skinshape.
Well, the first Skinshape record on vinyl actually came out on that label, which is a label that me and a friend started. And we had our first release in 2013, which was one of my tunes, and another tune made by a friend who lives in Manchester, England. And yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a hobby, really. It's like a side project. It's just something that we love. We record to tape. We use a lot of vintage equipment, and we get to work with like some of the reggae greats, like literally some of the guys playing on some of our favorite records from the reggae era. They're all here in London. So we've got various singers come down, and drummers and guitarists, bassists, loads of great guys, so it's just something that we love, and we just do it for that pure love.
That's what it should be. The music industry is such a at times a greedy evil thing, and it doesn't have to be. So are you going to be releasing any of these reggae tunes? I think I was reading one of the articles say we need to get this out at some point.
Well, as a label, we've already put a fair amount of stuff out. I mean, we're a small label. We do it when we have time, which is increasingly less over the years. But so far, we've probably released about 22 different things, most of them being 7-inch singles, but we've also released 2 LPs in those releases.
Oh, interesting. So how can we actually find these? I didn't realize that.
You can check it out probably on YouTube. Like we've been a bit slack on actually getting it on Spotify. Like it was for a period and then it disappeared because we stopped working with this digital distributor and never bothered to put it back up. But you know, a lot of it's stuff that we've licensed from old Jamaican guys, like old 70s rare stuff, you know, and maybe the license period has ended. But most of it, do you know the website Discogs?
Yes.
If you go on Discogs and just search for Horace Records, you'll see a kind of HORUS label. You should be able to find us. You can see our catalog there, and everything's on YouTube.
Wonderful, man. So, and also, how can we find Skinshape if people are just tuning in now and they want to check out your music?
If you want to check out Skinshape, I recommend you head over to Spotify or YouTube or skinshape.bandcamp.com and check out my music there.
Absolutely, man. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the record industry and records here in a second, but we're coming out of a pandemic. I like to call it a jamdemic because there's no live music. But man, I've been talking to all these artists all across the country and all across the world now, and everybody's got a different kind of perspective on what's happening. Tell us about life in the UK right now and how it was during the jamdemic for you.
During the pandemic, life in the UK. I mean, we famously haven't got very good weather here. So I mean, it's May now, but it still hasn't gone above 15 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's not warm, which is kind of pissing me off. But I mean, last year it was actually really amazing. So when lockdown hit at the end of March, it was just like 2 months of blue skies, and it was quite nice. I wrote that whole album Behind You, Arrogance is the Death of Man, during that period. And then I released that album and then the Umoja album, you know, so it was still a busy year for me. I scored a movie soundtrack, which is not going to be out for a couple of years, but so I can't really say more than that. But that was cool. That I did that at the end of last year. And now it's just, I mean, I'm not going to talk about politics, but we're just coming out of our lockdown here. Like things are opening from Monday. Like at the moment, I can go and eat at a restaurant, and I did that today for lunch. But on Monday, you can actually go inside and eat in a restaurant, and you don't have to be outside to eat. So things are better here than they are in a lot of other places in the world, and they've vaccinated something like 15, I don't know, 20 or even maybe 30 million people already, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of the same here. I mean, where the mask mandate is kind of falling off now. Different states in the United States have different kind of mandates, but I think we're over the hump here, and everybody can get out and start playing some music again. Got a couple of festivals we're going to be going to here in the next couple of weeks to MC and DJ. It's going to be fun. Music is coming back. If you're just tuning in, you're late. It's okay. We got Will from Skinshape all the way from across the pond in the UK joining us, and really stoked to talk with you, man. You know, like I said, my guitarist from the Elevators showed me, I think it was a couple of years ago or something like that. I just fell in love. There, no matter what the situation, I can always put these records on. We just got a PLX 500 turntable, and man, does your music sound amazing on that. And I want to touch on that too, because you're a really big fan of traditional old ways of doing things, from vinyl to analog. I mean, tell us about all that and why you do that.
It's not necessarily about old music being better. I mean, it is, but it's just the attitude towards it. You know, it's like doing things properly, which tended to happen more in those days, you know, because you the way that you had to get it onto a tape machine, you had to do everything there and then and get it on. Or you could like layer some stuff on after in the 70s when tape machines got better, like multi-tracking. And then when you got to like 24 track, it's not too far away from a computer anyway. So yeah, it's just that like attitude. So doing things properly. I don't really want to use like fake stuff, like digital beats. Like I'm not into that. I hate that, and I think it's ruined music these days. You know, people not really playing things. You know, I like to arrange things, use different instruments. You know, do it properly. You know, that's what I'm about. Is doing that and recording it in a way that sounds nice and writing the music that's also accessible. You know, I'm not into writing kind of funky jazz stuff that like only 3 people in the world can get, you know.
Yeah. So I got to talk about your sound here. I mean, you have a sound, and it's the thing that every artist strives for, regardless if you're huge or not. You have this sound. How do you keep that sound yet keep creating these different genres and experimenting with world music, experimenting with folk, experimenting with 60s kind of flower power stuff? How do you keep that sound throughout each record while still changing it?
Well, I'm into a lot of different stuff, so each album can sort of be a foray into a certain idea or style, you know. Like I really like all kinds of stuff, but I mainly listen to African music at home, and I'm really into soundtrack stuff, like film soundtracks and things like that. I mean, I don't actually listen to that many film soundtracks, but what I do listen to inspires me a lot. So I try to put those things within my music, you know, and just put loads of stuff together and make the mix kind of quite wild sometimes, like the result doesn't sound wild, but putting things together that don't always get put together, like folk elements of African stuff, things that you wouldn't expect to be squashed together on an album. That's what I'm trying to do.
Absolutely, man. You and especially with Emoja, I mean, that's a world themed record. I mean, the whole thing is, you know.
Well, that's been the kind of curveball. I always knew it would be that, because some fans will be like, "Oh, what's happened? His music sounds weird now," whereas loads of other people who didn't like anything before are suddenly like, "Oh, this is really good. You should do more of this." So it's like it's nice in that way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know anybody who would say I don't like that. One thing with your music, and I don't have this with a lot of artists, I can literally listen to any song on any record in your whole discography, and I will listen to it all the way through. And that's a powerful thing, man. You move us here in Knoxville, Tennessee.
That's good, man. How's the weather in Knoxville, Tennessee? Is it sunny?
Yeah, you know, it is today, but we've had a little bit of a chilly spring. You know, I'm not sure Celsius wise what the temperature would be, but it's a nice light jacket. You know, not too bad.
Weird, isn't it? I mean, it seems to be around the world that we've got that. Sucks, man.
Yeah, yeah, you guys definitely have some clouds, but you definitely push the clouds away with your music. So I think a lot more people around the world, if they're having a cloudy day, should listen to Skinshape. If you're just tuning in, we got a few more questions. It's Simmer Down live from home with Skinshape out of the UK at Skinshape Music on Instagram. Skinshape, Skinshape. If you don't know it now, you do. Hey, what's coming up for Skinshape? I'm not sure if you're going to be doing live shows or what you got planned, new music coming out. I'm sure you can't say a whole lot. Otherwise, the management might be a little angry with you. But what's coming up?
I don't have management anyway, so I can
oh, okay. Well, never mind then. Spill the beans.
What do you think? Do you think I'm going to do a live show?
I would love to see you do a live show. I've never seen any video of you live, so that would be interesting to see a live show.
That's the great mystery then, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, just before I spoke to you, I was upstairs. I'm in my flat in London, and I have a little space to write upstairs. I was just recording some stuff for album 7, so that's what's on the cards now. So I've basically sketched out the outline of the whole album, sonically speaking, you know, so everything's coming into place gradually. And my friend John, who's in a band called Frank Moody, he's one of my childhood friends, you know, since growing up, but he's a very top musician. He is doing the arrangements, so we're going to get those orchestral instruments in, the brass section, the flutes, the strings. And yeah, it's going to be a bit like the Philoxeny album, quite soundtracky and more of a journey as a whole, rather than picking out, hey, these are singles and these are songs. That's what I'm aiming for this album. But I'm being very ambitious, and I'm aiming to really push myself to make something that's musically really clever, but sort of just nice to hear.
Absolutely. Well, we can't wait to hear some of it, and I hope to see you do a live show at some point in the future. Would you ever think about coming to the States ever?
Well, considering that like 90% of my market is there, then I think it's a bit of a no-brainer.
You should come out, man. Oh man,
Yeah,
I'd love to see you live. We hear your music and hear your beautiful voice, but to see you go out and do it live, it would be really interesting. Would you do some kind of a looping kind of feel to it? How do you think you would do it?
Well, because of my ethos and like being kind of a purist when it comes to live music, I would never do any looping stuff. It's not just going to be me standing on the stage with like a million things. Like
Gotcha.
That's not really going to work for me. Like I think that I would want to do it with a proper band and like a big band that can cover all the things. Because as you've listened to my music, there's a lot of styles covered, right? So it's not so easy to just, hey, go and tour like my music, because there's like strings, there's brass, there's African percussion players, there's loads of crazy stuff. So it's like, what am I gonna take a kind of circus band with me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just pack the van full of 40 musicians and I'll bring them out on the same stage.
That would be really cool, to be honest.
That would be pretty cool. All right, man. Well, we got just a few more questions here. Thank you so much for calling in. I know it's almost tea time. Probably got about, looks like you got about 40 minutes until tea time. So I guess we'll be okay here. So I want to talk about this song, The Moment. It's the song that really just, I listen to it probably once a week, twice a week. I just want to know the story behind that track.
That's quite a bleak song, I'd say. Lyrically, it's quite bleak.
It is.
I mean, that's like, I wrote that. I used to play in this band called Palace for 3 years, and they're still going, but I'm not in it anymore. And so it's a bit inspired by some of their music. But yeah, I think I was just going through like a breakup, really, and that sounds really cliche, but I mean it's true. I went through a breakup, and I was emotionally not like I wasn't really with it, and it was just about that, and I can't really explain the chorus. Really, it's just a feeling, you know. It's an emotional feeling that when I wrote the lyrics, it just kind of came out like it felt like something I was really feeling then. It's not, you know, the verse lyrics are much more thought out, and that's how I was genuinely feeling at the time, pretty much. Like that's all I can say, really. Although it's actually one of my favorite songs too that I've done.
It's got this power as soon as it starts. You know, those minor. It's just I hear it, and it just kind of like puts you in this zone, and you can feel the story, you can feel the heartbreak in it, and that's some of my favorite music, because I think the best music truly comes from the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. You know,
it's true, actually. Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with the drums on that. My friend, he drummed on that, but we just got a really good sound that day. So the drums just sound, they've got this kind of very spacey, big feel, which is what I really love.
Yep, absolutely. All right, one more time. How can we find Skinshape? And then I got one more question for you.
You can check out Skinshape at skinshape.bandcamp.com, or you can check it out on Spotify or YouTube.
Wonderful, man. Again, thank you so much for calling in. I know tea time is coming up. Final question, man. So I've kind of read into it. You've always had a hard time expressing yourself, and music helps you to do this. What does music mean to you?
Music means to me just a very important part of life, really, you know, a way that I can actually live my life and enjoy it. You know, it's like an outlet for emotions. You know, you can channel things that upset you or things that make you happy through that and put it somewhere. It's like taking it out of you and putting it in something else and releasing that energy in a positive way. So I guess it's better that I do that rather than take my energy out at the pub and punch someone in the face.
Absolutely, man.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, Will, thank you so much, man. Hope to talk to you again in the future. And thank you for your music as always. All right.
All right, bro. My pleasure. Nice talking to you.
All right. Enjoy your tea time. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.